Welcome to the Wellness Protocol, your source for guidance on metabolic health, hormones, and longevity. I'm Dr. Alessia Roehnelt, double board certified endocrinologist, and on each episode, I'll share simple tools rooted in science and experience to help you feel better, live longer, and take control of your health. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are diving into one of the most requested topics that I get on Instagram and in the office, which is supplements. Which ones are worth it? Which ones are just a complete waste of money? And which ones might actually be harming you? The supplement industry is a $50 billion machine, and most products hit the shelves without any sort of regulation or proof that they can do what the label actually promises. Women especially are targeted with buzzwords like hormone balance and metabolism booster and belly fat support. So today on this episode, I want to break down in a really simple way what's worth taking, what is not, and how to choose supplements that are actually safe and effective. So let's start by discussing why supplements are so confusing to begin with. Most people assume that supplements are regulated in the same way that medications are, and they're actually shocked to learn that they aren't, not even close. You can put almost anything in a capsule, put a label on it, and sell it. There is no required proof of safety when it comes to supplements, and no required proof of effectiveness. There's no requirement that what's actually in the bottle matches what's on the label. Now, think about that for a second. They could literally put a label for something and give you a completely different product that does nothing. And that somehow is okay. And this is why people get confused and they're overwhelmed. And honestly, they're misled. So let's also discuss why supplements don't really replace foundations. Because before we talk about individual supplements, here's the truth that most people just don't really want to hear. And that is you can't out-supplement poor sleep, a nutrient-poor diet, zero muscle mass, chronic stress, or blood sugar dysregulation. What supplements can do is they can support your physiology, but they're not going to override it. So I always look at supplements as like the fourth or the fifth step, not the first step in getting healthy. So let's talk about some supplements in general that actually work, evidence-based supplements. One of my favorites is called magnesium, either glycinate or threonate. And if I could pick one supplement for most women over 30, it might be magnesium. The reason why is because it helps with a lot of different problems. It can help with sleep when you take it at night. It can help reduce stress. It can help with muscle recovery. It can help with headaches and migraines, and even potentially insulin sensitivity. And unfortunately, most Americans are deficient in magnesium. But another one that is really popular and I'm often recommending, and if you are one of my patients in the office, you know I check your levels at every appointment, but this one is vitamin D. So vitamin D basically acts like a hormone in some ways. It can affect mood. It can affect your immune function. It can affect your metabolic health, inflammation, a lot of different aspects of your overall health. And if you live in the Northeast, chances are you are low on vitamin D. Most people in the Northeast are low on vitamin D because most of the vitamin D that we get comes from the sun. And if you live in this area, you're not getting enough direct sunlight for enough time throughout the year in order for your vitamin D to be high enough on its own. So most people need to take vitamin D as a supplement. You cannot find large quantities of vitamin D in food, unfortunately. So while I said that you really can't out-supplement poor diet and things like that, this is one where just depending on where you live in the United States or in the world, you may actually need to supplement because you don't get this nutrient from that many foods. Many patients will only take a vitamin D3 supplement. That is the one that you can find over the counter. You can order it on any website. Really easy to get and find. The most common dose of this supplement would come in a 1,000 international unit, or IU. But many times I'll recommend for my patients higher dosing than that, for instance, 5,000 IUs, depending on their vitamin D levels. This is one of the vitamin levels that does need to be monitored. The reason for that is vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. That means that if you take too much, you can build up your levels to toxic levels that can actually affect other organs in your body, like your heart. So this is something that does need to be monitored. In contrast, some supplements like the B vitamins are water soluble. And if you take too much of B vitamins, your body will naturally kind of flush it out, and those levels do not need to be monitored as closely. Now, for most people, a regular vitamin D3 supplement is adequate, but there are a few instances in which I would recommend a vitamin D plus K2 supplement. The first is if you have issues absorbing vitamin D. Let's say you normally are taking 5,000 units a day, your doctor is checking your levels, and they are still low. It might be that you are having difficulty absorbing this supplement, and adding K2 can help with the absorption. So number one, in patients who can't get their vitamin D level up with just D, I oftentimes will recommend adding the K2. And another patient population that should consider adding K2 is for patients with osteoporosis or patients taking calcium supplements in order to improve their bones. There is some data showing that adding the K2 can help direct that supplemental calcium into the bones rather than other structures in the body, such as the coronary artery. So if you are on a calcium supplement or were advised to take one because you have osteoporosis, adding the K2 with your vitamin D might be even more beneficial for you. Now let's talk about another very popular one, and this is the omega-3s. So EPA, DHA, fish oil, basically. These supplements can really be amazing for lowering inflammation and supporting your metabolic health. They can even improve mood as well as brain health. Now, some patients will take straight up fish oil supplements. However, as silly as it sounds, many people complain that when they take fish oil supplements, they will have burps that smell and taste like fish, and nobody really wants that. So if you have tried fish oil supplements and feel like you have to stop them because you are having these fishy tasting or smelling burps, one thing to consider is putting it in the refrigerator and taking it cold. Another is to consider taking krill instead. Krill, beginning with a K, is a very similar type of omega-3, but it generally leads to less of that fish taste or burping. And another supplement that has gained a lot of popularity recently is creatine. This is one of the most studied supplements in the world. It can help build muscle, but more than that, it can help support brain function and improve metabolism. And women actually benefit from this tremendously. So a few years ago, many people would associate creatine with bodybuilding, strength building, men who are trying to build up more muscle. And now it's become more evident that women, especially in the range of perimenopause and menopause, can really benefit from adding creatine to their daily regimen as well. B12 is another really important vitamin, especially if you are a vegan or a vegetarian, or you have any type of gastrointestinal issues, such as malabsorption, celiac disease, ulcerative colitis, any kind of inflammatory bowel disease. You may not be absorbing B12 adequately from the foods that you're eating. If you have very low B12 levels for a very long period of time, number one, it can make you feel awful. You can really feel extremely tired, very low energy, but you can also start to notice neurological symptoms. Those symptoms could be as subtle as a little bit of numbness and tingling in your feet, but ultimately can result in problems with balance and, in extreme cases, permanent neurological dysfunction. So I do recommend asking your doctor to have your vitamin B12 levels checked from time to time. Once a year really is enough, but just to make sure that you are absorbing that vitamin adequately from the foods that you're eating and that you don't need to supplement. This is one of those vitamins where most people are fine taking it through an oral pill or a drop, Really common doses are 1,000 micrograms per day. However, sometimes you can really boost up B12 levels quickly by using injections of B12. Oftentimes, this will be given as a once a month injection. Patients can even do this at home once they get trained in how to do the injection, but it can really help for people who have a lot of gut inflammation and they need to bypass their GI tract. So an injection, subcutaneous or in the muscle, is a very good option for people that are not absorbing the B12 supplement as a pill or as a drop if they're not absorbing it well. Now let's talk about some supplements that have some evidence behind them, but still may be a bit controversial. The first one is berberine. This is a supplement that may help to improve blood sugar. It works similarly to metformin, and I will often describe it to my patients as like a mini metformin. So if somebody is already to the point where their blood sugars have been running high and they need a medication to help with their insulin resistance, if they're already on metformin, adding berberine is not going to do very much. It's like a weaker form of metformin. But in someone that maybe doesn't have high blood sugars yet, they just want to be proactive, or somebody with very mild blood sugar elevations and they're not interested in taking metformin, or even somebody that had side effects to metformin, berberine can be a reasonable option. Another one that is really interesting for people who have insulin resistance is a supplement called myo-inositol when used in PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. This supplement, again, acts as kind of a mini metformin in a way, but it does it differently. Myo-inositol has some potential to improve ovulation and regulate menstrual cycles in women with PCOS. Now, metformin does the same thing. But again, if you have someone that's not either ready to go on metformin, they had side effects to metformin, there's a reason why they can't take metformin, and they are looking for a natural supplement to help with those metformin-like effects in PCOS, myo-inositol could be really helpful. So that is another supplement that certainly has gained some traction in the last several years, especially as so many women are struggling with infertility. Collagen is another very popular supplement, and I agree with its use when used for the right intentions. So if you are using collagen as a protein replacement, it's not going to be effective enough. It's not going to be helpful. But if you're using it for your skin or your joints, that may be quite beneficial. So taking collagen supplements, adding collagen, drinking natural collagen, for instance, a bone broth has a lot of great quality natural collagen in it, but adding that bit of collagen can help to support skin and joints. And one more supplement that has some data behind it, CoQ10. CoQ10 is essential for the mitochondria. The mitochondria are basically the powerhouses of your cells, and they produce ATP, which is the body's main form of energy. So if CoQ10 levels are low, theoretically, people may experience fatigue or muscle weakness or brain fog. So boosting up those CoQ10 levels could potentially help with mitochondrial function and energy. It also is a pretty powerful antioxidant. So it helps to neutralize oxidative stress or cell damage. And it can be especially important for patients on statins. Statins are the medications used to lower cholesterol, such as Crestor, Lipitor, atorvastatin, rosuvastatin, because these medicines can potentially reduce the body's natural CoQ10 production. And that can cause things like muscle aches and muscle pains. Many studies have shown that adding CoQ10 can help to reduce those muscle symptoms in patients taking statins. So if a patient is on a statin and they feel really achy or tired, adding CoQ10 could be extremely helpful. So now let's talk about something really important, which is how to choose supplements that are actually safe and transparent and worth your money. So here's the truth. The quality of supplements, unfortunately, does vary widely. You could have 2 bottles on the shelf that look identical. They cost the same. They promise the same benefits. But one of them contains exactly what it claims, and the other one contains filler and is underdosed and maybe even has contaminants. So here's the golden rule. You want to look for third-party testing. This is one of the easiest ways to protect yourself. Third-party testing basically means that an outside company, not the manufacturer, verifies that what's in the bottle matches what's on the label. So look for seals like USP or NSF certified or informed choice. These are not paid certifications. They require rigorous testing. So if a supplement carries these seals, it's a really good sign. And try to research the form of the ingredient that you're buying. So some forms of nutrients are absorbed well and others barely move the needle. So a good example of this is with magnesium. Magnesium glycinate or threonate, excellent. Magnesium oxide, that is basically a laxative. So if you were taking magnesium oxide to try to get a good night's sleep, unfortunately, you're going to be in the bathroom all night. So making sure you know exactly what you're taking just by doing even a quick Google search for that. And take a look even at the brands, at their website. A reputable brand will be able to tell you who formulates their products, where they're manufactured, how the ingredients are sourced, how the product is tested, and what certifications they hold. If you can't find that information anywhere, that's a red flag. So if you found a brand or a type of supplement that you like, just make sure taking that supplement makes sense for you. It might make sense if you're treating a known deficiency that's been tested on blood work. It might make sense if you're using it to support a medical condition like insulin resistance or high blood sugars. It would definitely be helpful if you're adding it to a solid lifestyle foundation. Some of these supplements do need to be followed with lab data. You should not be just taking them for a long time without anybody checking your levels. And you always want to back your choice with evidence. If you're taking 20 supplements and you have no idea what each of them is for, you're probably on too many. So a good discussion with your doctor about which ones you need at that moment in time is critical. So what's the bottom line here? Supplements can absolutely be helpful, but only when they're high quality, used with intention, and paired with the fundamentals of metabolic health. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend or leave a review because it helps the podcast grow and it helps more women get evidence-based information instead of marketing hype. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time on The Wellness Protocol.